If you've ever shopped online, you've probably come across Temu.
This is Temu. It's a Chinese marketplace that sells things cheaper than I've ever seen before, but now it's beginning to step into American markets, and more specifically, the golf market with Super Bowl ads and influencer sponsorships. However, there are a lot of concerning issues surrounding the website and the deeper state and implications of using it that's genuinely scary. So naturally, I ordered a bunch of stuff from the website that we're going to review today, including a fake Titleist Vokey wedge that looks like it was designed by a 12-year-old. But before we do that, we have to get into what Temu is doing, why it could be really bad, and what this all means for the golf market as a whole going forward.
Arkansas is suing the Chinese-owned bargain retailer Temu.
The warning from the Chicago Better Business Bureau.
If you are doing anything, I need you to stop right now and listen to this.
All right, so Temu is a Chinese e-commerce company that has been making waves in the US market since they ran an advertisement during the Super Bowl in 2023. Since then, they've been pumping money into advertisement on television, YouTube, and basically every single social media platform. And there, they're paying creators to talk about, review, and basically advertise any item on Temu. And honestly, it catches on pretty quickly because the prices are so insanely low. And now it's reached the golf world, with some of their fake and knockoff products really making the rounds, especially their replica P790s that made an appearance in a J&A golf video last week and is doing very well.
Oh. Dude, John, these might be good, man. Like, how do the Chinese make $200 golf clubs the same price as $1,400 golf clubs? Imagine you get a hole-in-one with Temu clubs.
That sounded really bad, dude.
Probably don't want to show the camera that. Good swing.
Those clubs are crazy.
All right, so he clearly likes them, and I'm not gonna spoil too much about that video because it's really good. But the truth is, they've been selling golf products in the golf market for a while on Temu. But it's through these golf reviewers that Temu really relied on to get their products in the hands of golfers. And with the sheer amount of small things that you can get that coincide with the golf game improvement things, or just things to go along with you on a days out on the course, well, it looks like Temu is very well placed to dominate kind of the entire market for a very long time if it does it correctly. And all they need is to be platformed, and they've already shown a willingness to spend on major advertisements. So is it that crazy to think that maybe in a few years we'll have a Temu Open on the PGA Tour? Yes. That's crazy, but the argument still stands that their small trinkets are so attractive to viewers because their prices are so incredibly low. That is where my interest initially sparked. I had heard my girlfriend talk about it, getting some crazy deals for some cheap garbage, and I figured I'd try it out and spend like 30 bucks on a ton of small golf things, which we're gonna look at. But there's a little bit more to this whole Temu thing that honestly should make you question if it's worth purchasing from them at all. The biggest problem of all to me is the uncertainty of the regulations and rules regarding what is going on in the production of their products. We've seen reports of slavery with a select few items, but it's there, and who knows the environmental or employee practices that they are enforcing, because we have heard a lot about Chinese manufacturers not necessarily dealing in the best human rights and environmental standards, which is a little concerning. But it's not technically Temu's fault, or maybe not directly, right? They're just a marketplace, the spot where hundreds of manufacturers in China go to sell their products, just like AliExpress and even Amazon. So I'm not necessarily that worried about it, especially since no golf products go in my mouth, but I'm very worried about my security of my information. See, the parent company of Temu, Pinduoduo, has already been taken off app stores in the past for unscrupulous information practices. And with Temu constantly giving their customers incentives to invite others, well, the app has exploded to be the most downloaded app in the App Store in 2023. And that's a ton of people's information. And well, since they're a Chinese company, that means that the Chinese government can basically access that information whenever they'd like, or in theory, that's possible. And on top of that, I wouldn't be surprised if the way Temu is making any money at all from these insanely low-priced orders and products is through selling the private information of its users. Now, that's not the only way they are able to sell this stuff really cheap, because the truth is, it is really cheap, and some of it is really terrible. Like these teas I ordered, right? These are some of the worst teas I've ever used. They are supposed to be wood, and if they are, they must be balsa wood, because I've never had one last more than a single shot. But besides just being crappy sometimes, they're not all terrible. And the fact is that they don't necessarily have to get charged as much as you would expect, since China is however many thousands of miles away from the United States, because nothing is tariffed under $800 in the United States, more or less. And so it flies under the radar of the law, meaning they're not charged that tax that's supposed to allow domestic producers to remain competitive with those outside of the US. Now, with Trump's imposed tariffs, who knows what could happen? But actually, the Biden administration has apparently looked into it or said they were going to modify the rule and change it, because it is allowing companies like Temu, like Shein and AliExpress to sell products for very low margins, potentially hurting a lot of companies, a lot of golf manufacturers especially. So hopefully these rules, or these potential upcoming rules, could help companies compete with these smaller product markets like we see in golf and like all of these other small items that they create. But that's kind of all ignoring what I think is the worst part of Temu, or is most annoying to me: the gamification of using the app. Every time you log into the app, it is like you're gambling. You're given this spinny wheel to see what discount you can get that says everyone will get the exact same discount. It's kind of silly, but it also is trying to encourage you to spend as much money as possible. Use the website as much as you can, spend as much time on the website, and potentially send it to your friends to do the same, creating more information for this company to sell. And the gamification of the entire app is genuinely very silly to me, and it's upsetting, especially when you see how much control a Chinese brand in TikTok already has over the American public. They are taking so much of the American public's time away. And that's not necessarily a bad thing if TikTok can be trusted. I don't know if it can, but it might not be. And the same can be said about Temu. But clearly it didn't stop me from buying these products. So let's get into my personal experience to see if there's anything to recommend, if it's all terrible and it's all a waste of time. We're gonna get to the bottom of it right now. All right, starting off, we've got the tees. I already said they're terrible. They're wood tees. I think they cost like $3 or something insanely cheap, but they're terrible. I would have rather spent $8, gotten real wood tees from Amazon or from the PGA Superstore, wherever, and have been able to use my tees. So they're terrible. I did also order this shirt. I thought it looks pretty cool online. It was only like $13, and I thought I'd check it out. And it is fine. You know, I went to 5-iron with it. I tried it out. It's okay. It's not great. It does the job. It feels like that kind of t-shirt athletic material that you'd have, the polyester. It is a XXL though, which is the general problem for buying clothing on Chinese websites, especially Temu, where the sizing is just a little iffy. I'm 6 foot, 5'11", 160 pounds. I've never been an XL, let alone a XXL. It's a little iffy not knowing your size. And when it's only $13, it's not that much to risk. But when it gets higher than that, it becomes an issue. And the next thing I picked up were these plastic training balls. And they're very much so fine. They're plastic balls that were very cheap. They're just for in my office if I want to chip and pass the time away and not actually work. They do what they need to do. And that all is getting closer to what I think the point of Temu for me would be, but we'll get into that in a second. And then I got a putting mirror as well. You get the gist. This is a very common product. I've seen this all over Amazon. It's the exact same thing they sell on Amazon. It's perfect for what I needed when I needed it. Not disappointed in that purchase at all. Solid. And I can say the same about the wood head covers that I ordered. They do the job completely. They look pretty cool, and that's really all they need to do. I didn't expect much, and I didn't need much, and Temu delivered. But the only other thing that actually went into my bag is this Sharpie pen, tiny pen thing that came with a ball liner. I threw the ball liner out. I actually ordered 2 ball liners. One broke immediately. The other one I don't need because I can't putt, so it doesn't really matter. That also came along with this mat. I ordered that in the same order. Again, I tried to use this to chip, so I'm not chipping off the wood floors in my apartment. It's fine. It feels crappy. It looks crappy. It is crappy, but I paid, whatever, $7 for it, so it doesn't really matter to me. But here's my biggest purchase: a fake Titleist Vokey wedge, a 60-degree, 14 degrees of bounce, K grind, whatever that means. And we're gonna test it out at 5-iron, see what the numbers are like. And I'm not very optimistic about it at all because it feels terrible. I don't know what kind of anodized finish they put on here or what's going on with the metal, but it feels different than I've ever felt the wedge before. Does that mean the spin could be even better on this thing? Maybe. That's probably an optimistic thinking, but who knows? I think the design's kind of cool. It's fun. There's not a lot of fun designs on golf clubs anymore, so I'm okay with that. But all right, now that we're here at 5-Iron, which I do want to thank as they gifted me a membership to film here, so check out their holiday sales in the description if you want to dial in your game in the perfect setting this holiday season. But now we can finally check out the club, see what's going on with this wedge, and see if it's actually terrible, because it might be.
First impressions, I hate the feel of these things. I don't know if it's the grip, if it's too skinny or something, or the shaft is different. It definitely is, but it just feels off. Oh, that one felt good, but it still is just a little off. I hit it off the inside, that's where I'm generally hitting the entire club, but it just feels a little uncomfortable. The finish is different. It has 14 degrees of bounce, so I tried to open it up and it immediately felt weird just because there's so much behind the club that I'm not necessarily used to. Now, we're gonna get into some numbers in a second after I take some more shots, but this is what I'm comparing it to. It's a 58, this is a 60, so this should get a little bit less spin, this should go a little bit less far, but plus I don't have a 60 degree on me, so it doesn't really matter either way. We're just trying to get an idea of the spin numbers to see if is anything magical going on, if it's absolutely terrible, or it's generally a normal club.
So there's definitely something up with this wedge. It doesn't mean they're all screwed up. The numbers look somewhat fine. Here are the numbers for all of you to see. It's generally in the right area. It has less ball speed than the 58 degree. It has more spin, and it does the job. It's not a ton of spin for a 60 degree wedge. I don't spin my clubs the most, so that has to be taken into account.
Is it great? Would I recommend it? Probably not. I think it was cheap. It was like $35, but realistically, it doesn't really make sense for me.
But remembering all the issues I said about the security and all that other nonsense with the manufacturing, the producers, the suppliers, the tariffs, would I recommend buying these clubs, or should you buy anything from Temu? Well, definitely do not buy your field clubs, your wedges, putters, anything that's actually important for your game off of that. If you want to buy irons like J&A Golf did, I can't recommend it because I don't think it's a good idea. I think once you reach over the $80 mark, it gets to an area where this is a silly purchase because they might not secure your information correctly. There could be a lot of other issues that go along with that as well. And honestly, if you want to buy small things and you can do it on PayPal with a credit card with several ways to get your money back and protect yourself and protect your information with a VPN, maybe it's a good idea. But I really can't recommend it. However, I do again want to thank 5-Iron Golf for giving me a place to film and dial in my game. And I do want to let you know that they have some great deals going on for the holidays, like crazy gift card bonuses that'll enter you into raffles for things like a new Callaway driver, a golf trip, and even a year's supply of lessons and more. Add to that their beginner-friendly options like discounted swing evaluations and intro to golf lessons. That all makes it a pretty good deal. So check it out at my affiliate link in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.